Every cone and every sign, every reduced speed limit is there because something went wrong. Not as a precaution, but because it already happened. And if you've ever thought work zones were overkill or just there to slow you down, well, they are just there to slow you down. But this is the part nobody really explains. Make sure to like, follow, and share before we get into it. It's Labor Lines, and you know what time it is. It is time to get into it. None of this just showed up one day. This wasn't all designed at once. It was built over time. And if you go back far enough, roads didn't even have consistent signs. No standard shapes or colors or even uniform systems. Chaos, pandemonium. At one point, a stop sign in one state didn't even look like a stop sign in another. They were often different shapes, colors, and meanings. Again, chaos, pandemonium. And that caused problems, right? Real problems. Drivers didn't know what they were looking at or how to react to it. And that confusion, guess what? It led to crashes. So in the 1930s, they finally said enough is enough and created the first ever national standards for traffic control, the MUTCD, or the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. And the goals of the manual were simple. Try and make every driver understand exactly what they're looking at and make it standard across every state. And if you're familiar with OSHA and the OSHA standards for construction or general industry, you know that your state can have its own version of that. They just have to meet or exceed the standard, meaning they can change it all they want as long as it adheres to the original standard or goes beyond it. Now let's talk about speed limits and work zones. Those exist because drivers were coming in too fast. And they didn't have enough time to react. Workers were getting hit before they even had a chance, so speeds got reduced. How about flaggers, you might say? They're out there because at one point there was no one controlling traffic. Cars were just moving through active work zones however they wanted. The public and workers were getting caught in the middle of it. As road work increased, especially as highways expanded, they realized something else. You couldn't just put signs out and hope for the best. Traffic had to be controlled and in real time. That's where flaggers became very necessary. How about cones and barrels? It's not decoration. That's space. It's a buffer. Because without it, drivers were getting too close, too fast, too often. Advanced warning signs, road work ahead, lane closed, all of that. That exists because drivers were coming up on work zones with no warning, no time to adjust, and no time to slow down. And here's the part that matters. None of this is old history. This isn't something that got solved once and never happened again. It's still happening. That's why these systems keep evolving, why standards keep getting updated, and why we still study this. Because the same problems keep showing up: speed, distraction, and people not understanding what they're driving into. And it's also why we have National Work Zone Awareness Week, 4/20 through the 24th. Because even with everything in place, people are still getting hurt. And it's not just workers, it's drivers too. So here's the disconnect. When you drive through a work zone, it feels like an inconvenience. But what you're actually driving through is a system built from real incidents. Every cone means someone got too close. Every reduced speed limit means someone was going too fast. Every flagger means traffic had to be controlled, because at some point it wasn't. Remember, none of this is random. It's all a reaction to something that has already occurred. And yeah, sometimes it slows you down and feels like too much, or it feels like it never ends. But there is no version of this work where the work gets done safely without it. Because without it, you go right back to what caused it all in the first place. So here's the question. Next time you come through a work zone, are you just seeing cones and delays, or are you seeing what it took to get there? Because everything you're looking at exists for a reason. And don't forget the people who are doing the work. They have families. Their sons and daughters, husbands and wives, uncles and aunts. They have people that love them and would miss them if they were gone, especially for something that could be prevented. Next week, we're going to talk about who to blame for all of this, and the reveal might just change everything. Make sure to like, follow, and share so you don't miss it. This is Labor Lines with Alex. As always, my good friends, be safe, be productive, be well.